And the tendency is to want to gossip about that. And when we see somebody in the kahila, in the assembly, we want to gossip about them, and we want to talk about what they're doing, and we want to kind of exemplify it. And oftentimes, we tend to get a sense of self-righteousness in this. We have to remember that first and foremost, we need to be praying for them. And when we pray for somebody, we need to be praying for their holiness, for their sanctity. As a congregational leader, I'm under attack, and you're all under attack. We're all under attack. We need to be praying for each other and for each other's holiness. Again, the first thing that Yeshua, when he bids us to in the Lord's Prayer, the first thing is for sanctity of God's name, right? Our Father in heaven. It's a request. May your name be made holy. In other words, that God be glorified in people's lives. And we need to be praying as we pray for our children, as we pray for our family members, as we pray for our parents, as we pray for those that we know that have fallen away. We need to be praying that God would restore them and heal them, and that God would be working in their heart. And then we need to pray for opportunities of how can we, what can we do to take steps to have a conversation with them, a tough, difficult conversation. But how can we do it in love? And I think one of the first things is just to recognize that we ourselves could be in that very same place that they're in. And when we talk to somebody, we simply recognize, I know that I fall short on a daily basis, and I struggle with these issues. I'm concerned about you, and I love you. And this is what I want to see. At the center of the Lord's Prayer, I find it interesting that he says, forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. There's two recognitions there. Two recognitions, right? First of all, that we've trespassed, that we've sinned. I had a friend once say that, well, I don't need to pray for forgiveness. Bro, you're in bondage because you're telling yourself that you've sinned all the time. And you don't need to, if you haven't sinned, you don't need to be praying for that. And Yeshua said this needs to be a daily prayer. That you say, Lord, forgive us our trespasses. As we forgive those. We need to be repentant and we need to be forgiving. Now, I understand that forgiveness does not always necessarily equate to walking alongside. It doesn't always equate to full reconciliation. I understand that if somebody is not repentant towards you and somebody has not apologized for the wrong, that maybe there can't be full restoration, but it should always be our heart's desire to forgive that person. The idea of forgiveness in the Greek is the idea, it just goes back to the same concept in Hebrew, is the idea of letting go. Let go. Because not letting go is going to result in bitterness. And bitterness is going to result in what? Bad relationships. Bad relationships result in what? Isolation. And aloneness, which is the opposite of what we're called and created for, results in depression, despair, hopelessness. And those things taken to their extreme oftentimes result in what? If a person can never reconcile their life situation in the light of what God's doing, why should I live? Why should I live?